how realistic is it to expect women today, with everything that's going on, especially women in the West? Like, I can't comment on what's going on in Saudi Arabia. Never been to Saudi Arabia. I don't know what's going on in Eastern Europe and Romania, as an example. Hell, I don't know what the hell's going on in China. So I'm just throwing that out the window. So for all the passport bros who are moving to wherever to go find a wife, best of luck out there in fucking Thailand. I got nothing for you. I'm living in America or in the West. So that let's just frame the conversation in that regard. How realistic is it to expect modern women to kind of go back to their traditional role and just get your ass back in the kitchen, girl? Like, is that even realistic at this point?
Yeah.
What do you think, Lucario?
Yeah, it's absolutely realistic. The problem is, again, like I said, these guys are pussies. So this is why it's not happening. It's literally that simple.
Say it louder for those in the back.
They're not going to listen to you because they don't, like you're saying, trust. They don't trust you because you're inconsistent. Most guys nowadays are inconsistent. So that inconsistency breeds mistrust. It's like, well, I don't trust you to be a man because you're not being consistent. Yeah. And then because you're not being consistent, I'm not going to listen to you and I'm not going to follow you because you're not showing me that I should follow you. And that's the problem, where guys are losing, they don't understand their influence over women. They think that, well, I don't have anything to do with what women are doing nowadays, right? But it's always directly correlated to the man. So because men are soft, because men don't know how to lead, this is why it's not happening. So it is realistic if he's a man. But if he's not a man, if he's just a male, it's unrealistic. So we have a lot of males out here who type on the internet and, watch all these videos, but they're not really men. And so this is why they're having issues with women. As soon as they become a man, the issues they have with women it'll be done. It'll be finished.
By the way, clip that, cut it, boom. That's Lucario's thing right there. For you guys out there that are wondering, all right, I got to figure out what I'm doing with my life. Why am I even watching this show? Is there one nugget that I can even take? That's what I tell people. I don't expect 2 hours of a show to change your life. It's a slow drip. But every episode, there's something that's going to resonate with somebody. Right. And I get that. And by the way, I hear like, Jane, by the way, you took your glasses off? All right, cool. Welcome back. I hear women be like, It's like a black lady in church almost. Like, like exactly, a lot of that. All right, shout out to my black ladies that are watching the show. But that does seem to be a similar theme, that like men aren't being men anymore. Is that a complaint you commonly hear?
Absolutely. Women are craving men who are confident, who are men, who are traditional, in the sense of, I can trust him, he can make decisions, I can relax around him, he protects me, he's a provider, is ideal. It's just that extra level of emotional presence that's hard for men, because women have been getting educated now for 50, 60 odd years, and now women have these changed expectations, and men are going, so I need to be like a little bit vulnerable, but not more vulnerable than her. I need to have tough conversations occasionally, but not be too feminine. It's a hard balance for men. Like, it is.
Well, we're going to touch on men in a second, so just don't think that we're all just here shitting on the women over here, trying to figure out the women.
Women are craving it.
We're going to go to the women. What's that?
Women are craving it. Men
crazy?
Men craving it.
Oh, yeah. Women are crazy and they're craving it, is what I just found out. Brody, you kind of revealed initially, you were in Israel. It was more traditional. Yeah. It's, the Middle East. People forget about that. Shout out to my Israelis out there. Blessing. You came to America. You're like, holy shit, this is crazy. I can do whatever I want. Kind of free for all, South Beach, so to speak. And now you just got back from Israel. There's like this maybe, I don't know if it's a yearning or realization. You're like, what, maybe I can be
We talk about it all the time, that it's
traditional.
impossible to meet someone in Miami. It's just, there are no dating options.
Well, I live in Miami. Let's not label us all out there. You hear that, baby? I'm a good man. I'm just kidding.
And I'll also say, I'm like curious, I have this like thought exercise. What would it be like if America had a need for a mandatory draft, how that would change society here? Because I think that a lot of the reason that Israel is so traditional is because of the mandatory draft. But that's just my
no doubt.
opinion.
You struck on a chord that I'll talk about. That we have it so freaking good here in America that we're
Coddled.
making up problems in our own head. We got so much free time. We talked about this today on PBD podcast that we did. Sick event, by the way. Shout out if you watch that. And it's in other parts of the world. You don't have time to complain. You don't have time to be depressed. You're trying to fucking fight for survival.
It's
right here,
so.
you have so much time on your hands for nonsense, for reality TV, to just like to just deal. We're so fortunate and so lucky to live here that we make up problems in our mind.
Can I add
So
on that?
100%. And if there was a draft here in America today, you softies out there would not know what to do with yourself.
It's also, if you look at letters that soldiers write, their main motivator is to protect their wives, their girlfriends, their children. Like that is a man's purpose, or let me say that's the general men's purpose. And something about being in touch with your divine masculinity is so important. It fulfills you. And the same with divine femininity, I think. Yeah.
So let me go back to this initial question, because we talked about, living in the West, in America, or even Australia. Is Australia considered the West?
I think
it's like down under West. It's like our weird criminal
West,
cousins out there. How realistic is it for modern women in the West? How realistic is it to expect them to just revert back to traditional roles? It's how they say, like, once the genie's out the bottle, you can't get it back in. Once the toothpaste is out the tube, you can't get it back in. Now that women have been liberated and educated and have so much freedom, and they can monetize, whether that's work, whether that's college, whether that's being sexually monetized, whatever it is, how realistic is it for women to get that taste of independence, to be like, skirt, back into traditional roles? How realistic
I think
is
it? It's very real. I'm very, very pro female mandatory draft as well. Like, that's surprising to people.
In America?
In America as well. I don't think that women should be in combat. I think maybe there's a very small amount of women that can meet the criteria, and then, you do you. But I'm very much about equal opportunity, not equal outcome. And I think that women should have the opportunity to be educated, to do whatever they want. But I think we also need to come to terms with the fact that what's going to make us happy at the end of the day is being more traditional, more feminine, more soft, and more nurturing.
Okay.
It's in our DNA.
So, there's this stat. I want to come to you for a second, by the way, Lady Gaga. Can you put your glasses back on? It was kind of fly.
All right.
Well, two-part question. So, what would it take for you? You're doing your thing. You're out there. You're shaking your thing. I see you on the internet. You're living your best life. You're making money. What would it take for you to revert back to more of a traditional role? Cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, family woman, versus independent, doing your own thing?
I feel like there's a misconception about me that I don't do that.
I've seen you on the internet, girl.
Yeah, but the internet, actresses, if you were an actor and you cheated and beat up your wife, you're acting.
Oh, so it's an act.
I'm not going to hold that against you. This is entertainment, baby. We're having fun. And if someone can't see past that and find out who is Jamie, I am so loving. I already cook. I clean. I'm cooking. I go out and party and shake my ass, and then I'm cooking a meal for everyone who just got home.
So you're saying that you're a lady in the streets, freaking the sheets, or you're a freak in the
freak in the streets, lady at home.
Okay, that didn't rhyme as good.
But then back to the sheets. It's like a sandwich, and I'm good at making them too. So.
Well, Brody touched on this. There's this study by Morgan Stanley. It's called the she-economy, not the economy, the she-economy.
Oh God!
We've talked about this all before, about how basically women control a large share of the U.S. consumer wallet, $7 trillion to be exact. By the way, I think our total GDP of the United States is $20 trillion. So that's a large chunk of the economy. Women are the breadwinners of 40% of households. But here's the kicker: by 2030, 45% of women aged 25 to 44, essentially this group, give or take, are expected to be single, not married, no kids. So the she-economy is a real thing. So you talked about, reverting back to traditional roles. It might happen to you. It might even happen to you. But do you think it's going to happen in a mass scale to millions of women in the West? Go ahead, Brody.
I think if we don't change our ways, if we don't start confronting I don't have the vocabulary for this. If we stop putting down masculinity and suppressing masculinity, and we start promoting divine femininity, then I think we have a chance. But right now, we're really not headed in that direction.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of faith.
I'm going to ask you a question. Yeah. You meet this dude. He's like, I got you, baby. You're beautiful. You're going to step into my world, jump in my car. I got you. I'm going to be your provider, your protector. And what's the third P? Oh, leadership or something or other. So he's got you.
Right.
Okay, he makes $1 million a year. Do you just flip the script and you're in his world now? That's it, done.
If he complete me, I'm submissive.
Okay.
I'm there. If he complete me.
And he's checking all the boxes.
If he complete me, I'm
Now
there.
that same dude makes 80 grand a year. You signing up for that team?
I mean, if he complete me, it can be from learning. It can be something else. He might make that, but it can be something else he's doing that got me excited.
Okay, so something just
it's just not
switched.
the money for me, but at the same time, if I'm learning from you, you got something going on. I'm looking more deep than that.
Okay, because
internally.
the reason that I'm going to give
I make
you
my own money.
right, but you were very clear that you wanted a multimillionaire the last time you were here.
I
What
want
changed?
all of that.
Yeah.
Who
I
doesn't,
still
though?
want that. That's still my net
Who
worth.
doesn't?
Who doesn't want a multimillionaire?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm working for that for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anybody that come complete me, I'm good with that.
So
at
you
the
want
same
that Jerry
time.
Maguire moment. You complete me and then you run away into the sunset.
I don't want that.
Okay.
I'm just.
So be very clear. What do you want? Because there's going to be men
I'm
out there
single.
that. Go ahead.
That's what I want. I'm single. I am working on my own, and if a man come and complete me, I'm fine. with
Okay,
that.
but what does it mean for a man to complete you? Don't you need to bring something to the table to complete?
I'm submissive.
Okay.
I think that comes with that. Just being submissive, and me coming with who I am. I think that comes with a lot.
Lucario, you're a pretty realistic dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you hear what she's saying, and does it make sense, or do you want to give her any you're like, I don't know about that girl?
No, I think what she's saying makes sense, but I think the what confuses a lot of men when they watch stuff like this. So they'll hear her say, "Well, I want a guy who's rich," right? So they'll be like, "Why do these women only want guys who make six figures and blah 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 blah?" That's what they prefer. Like just like any guy would say, "Well, I prefer a woman who looks like Kim Kardashian or looks like Beyonce or whatever." Doesn't mean you're going to get it. You feel what I'm saying? So a woman may prefer a guy who is a bazillionaire, but she's most likely not going to get that guy. You know what I'm saying? And if she does get that guy, usually it's a guy who's a simp or a beta male who's going to basically give her all these things because he just wants access to her. You understand? So that's usually like the trade-off, where if the main thing is money, that means that the woman isn't actually interested in him. It's really just the money. And therefore, if he's going to be cool with that in a lot of cases, that means that guy is usually a beta male that he doesn't really respect himself. You know what I'm saying?
All right. We haven't heard from Emily in a while. Do you have any strong feelings on the conversation we just had?
What's the question?
There we go. Mark, final word.
She's like,
Around?
Around just the entire conversation of what women are looking for. Then we'll go to the super chats.
Yeah, I think I've just found that, again, every woman on this panel has basically said, I enjoy when I can be in the feminine role. I like having a protector. I want a guy to be present. And everyone here ranked that above money. And even yourself, you said, well, 60 million. Actually, if he pays 80 grand, does all the other stuff, cool.
right.
So
Yeah, she just went from 60 million to
it's like-
80K just because the dude checked a couple
wanted.
boxes.
Exactly.
and
definitely
there's,
want it, and
there's
I have
preferences versus deal breakers, and we've said what the preferences are. Hey, as much as possible. I want him to make as much as he possibly can. But I think every woman here has basically said, I love being in the traditional role in many aspects, and I want to be able to make my own money and have a guy who can communicate with me and be present.
All right, Nat, you want to get some super chats, or should we move on to the next segment?
Yes, I can give some super chats. But before I do that, I actually did a poll from our audience because I want to get their take. And the question was, can women today go back to being traditional? And 33% said yes, and 60% said no.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, as much as optimistic we want to be that we can go back to being traditional, I don't think we will. And if you think about it today, how could we with technology today? You know, how do you go back in time where cooking and cleaning and those things were what women did, but they didn't have access to what we have access to today?
Yeah.
So as much as we want to put in our head, like, yes, we can be traditional, I don't think it's going to be the same traditional as it was back then. Because you see women like Allie that we had on the podcast. Yes, she's traditional, but she has a YouTube channel. Back then, they don't have that,
Exactly.
right? You're building your brand, you're building yourself. So for us to sit here and say, yes, I'm going to be traditional, and you can maybe lean more towards that realm, but in today's time, I don't think it's realistic, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think you can actually use that to your advantage with your significant other, and you can create a new lifestyle and create a new standard, and that's essentially what future is to create that standard.
So before you go to the super chats, let me ask you a question. You know, we
Yeah.
went around the table here about what percentage are you more traditional, more modern. You come from a very good, strong nucleus. Shout out to Marvin and Dee and your sisters and everyone out there. You've got a very good, I would say, grasp on what tradition looks like, a good family unit looks like, the role of a woman. You're very vocal about the fact that your dad is the leader of the household, but your mom is sort of the COO. She's running the ship, but your dad's the captain. How do you view yourself in terms of modern woman, traditional woman? Because there is a balance.
Yes. As much as I want to say I'm super traditional, I would say I'm a good combination of both. I would say there is some modern women in me, specifically because, I mean, I do have to work and I do have to pay my bills. And I actually do agree with Mr. Lucario. What he said is that, you know, if you find a man that will be able to relieve you of certain duties, then you can become a little bit more traditional. So I think right now where I'm at, you know, trying to survive and take care of myself and be a good woman in the world, I'm more on that modern end in that sense. But what I want is to be more traditional, but I need support. I need someone from the other end to help me to do that. So I think I'm a combination of both.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire Soscast, click right here.